that belt screech? You got a Cummins underneath that thing? Ford's got the belt screech? Wow. Must be all that power that they make. What in the world is that? Looks like a lot of stuff underneath there, buddy. Wow. Look at that magnificent 6.7 liters of raw power. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. As you can see, we have got Michael's truck in the shop. This beautiful, Michael, what year is this? What year is this thing? 2018. 2018. 450 Platinum, just what a beautiful unit. Now, I say we got something a little different because the amount of times we work on Fords in this shop is very seldomly, but we're gonna learn some things today. We have spent a lot of time talking with the guys over at S&S Diesel, and we have got one of their new Gen 2 disaster prevention kits. And for those of you guys who are not kind of aware on maybe some of the CP4 issues, problems, we're gonna kind of run down some information here just so you guys are a little bit more educated, I guess you would say, on why you might need something. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. That's what we're gonna be installing. As you guys see, we've already kind of done a full service. We kind of skipped over that, but we've got tons of AMSOIL products on the table. What did we do yesterday?
Change the oil. Change the transmission fluid.
We changed the oil, we changed the oil filter, we changed the transmission fluid. Yeah, you had to really think about that. I caught you off guard on that? Sorry. So we've got some filters. So today we're going to be working on the fuel system and installing the new Gen 2 disaster prevention kit, which will basically save your fuel system. So the main reason why, if you have a Ford, what year ranges is this good for? I completely forgot. I think it's 11 and up, right? So even the 2020s. So the main problem is on these Fords, they are equipped with a CP4 pump, not a CP3 like you're probably used to on the Dodges. So CP4 pumps do have a problem, even in Duramax applications. A lot of Duramaxes will just go to a CP3 swap. There is no CP3 swap available for Ford. So you guys are kind of stuck with your CP4s. Now, we're not saying CP4 pumps are bad, but they do have the reputation of failing. We'll get into some of the reasons why they fail, but when they fail, the fuel supply and the way that the fuel is routed in this engine basically gets scattered throughout your entire fuel system. Goes through your rails, goes to your injectors, goes back to your tank. So what this kit does is, if your CP4 happens to fail, it is going to save a ton of time and a ton of money. It's going to not send fuel through your entire fuel system. This disaster prevention kit is basically going to capture all of that in their own little filter base. So there's a lot of really cool features with this kit, but the majority of the reason why you're gonna wanna put this on, and if some of you guys have ever had a CP4 failure, you know there is a ton of money. What did Luke say yesterday? Right around the $8,000 to $10,000 if you have a full explosion with no disaster prevention kit for $400, I believe this kit is. It is a lifesaver if your pump fails. So the way that the fuel is routed right now is kind of comes from your tank. There's a pump right after your tank, sends it up here to, and it goes through a filter down there, which we're going to change as well. Goes to a secondary filter, and from the secondary filter, they actually change the routing of the way from the second fuel filter to your pump.
Yes. It goes from the bottom of the CP4. The CP4 gets lubricated instead of like a CP3 where it has oil in it. So you have fuel coming up, and then if there's an internal explosion in there, that's what ruins everything and then spreads metal through any and every part of the fuel system. Yep.
So CP4s are actually fed from the bottom of the pump and kind of goes up from there, and then they have a metering valve on the top, which when they explode or lifter turns or whatever have you, the shavings go up through the pump and really mess up everything. So they do have failures in just a hard part way. There's lifters and rollers and stuff like that where they can turn. So a lot of people will say fuel additive will save that. That's not exactly true, because there are other ways that they can fail to kind of more mechanical than a lubricity thing. So what the S&S kit does is the way that they reroute the fuel, it'll actually feed the pump from the top and also lube it, and then kind of reroute the way the return is, and then kind of capture everything in this really, really good looking return filter setup.
Yeah, and it also puts a window in the system too, because it's kind of blind, where now you can see any kind of metal, debris, anything in the system.
Gives you kind of a little bit of an insight if you're going to possibly have a problem, even to the point of when you're changing fuel filters, you're going to want to cycle your key. We're going to get to that. We'll show you guys some of that, but this will actually give you a little window to actually know when the air is out of your system, because a lot of guys, when you change fuel filters, you know, you cycle your key a few times back and forth. Well, what Luke was telling us, it actually takes quite a bit longer than most people realize to get all of the air out of your system. So a lot of benefit to having this filter. This filter is actually kind of like it looks like it's serviceable here, but this whole unit gets actually replaced out of this bracket. So service intervals are the same as factory fuel filters on this thing, so kind of goes right along with your regular scheduled maintenance, and you just need to pick these things up from wherever you got your S&S kit. I will leave a link down below. If you guys are interested in this kit, FLEECE Performance actually sells them. I'll leave the link down below. They have them in stock. They can help you guys out with them. They are an S&S dealer. S&S products go through dealers, so again, show the FLEECE guys some love. They are awesome to deal with. So again, if you have a 6.7 PowerStroke, I am telling you right now, this should be the first thing that you do, hands down, because the amount of money and time that it will save you if you have, and a lot of times, so I think the way it was explained to us is they're just, you know, CP4s are just sensitive. Yes. You know, we kind of related it to yesterday, to kind of like, if you have a, you know, just a sensitive hot girlfriend, you know what I mean? Sometimes they just get, they get unhappy very quickly, you know, sometimes they're hangry, sometimes they get upset. So if you guys stop and get fuel someplace weird or random, or just something that's unhappy in the fuel system or fuel filters, stuff like that, it can all cause CP4 failure. So I'm not really going to go out on a limb and say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. A lot of trucks will run for a very long time and not have a problem, but it is very, very, very cheap insurance, something that Michael wanted to put on right away. So like I said, we were servicing his truck all day yesterday with some AMSOIL stuff, and today we're going to be diving and showing you guys the installation procedure on this. And once we get a little bit better look, we'll kind of show you a little bit better of the fuel routing and how they do that. So I think there's all left to do is nothing. Nothing to it but to do it. So is it slightly ironic that we're working on your Ford truck today and you're wearing your Cummins engine block t-shirt? That's a nice shirt, dude. Did you get that on Wrenchworks? You trying to win a toolbox? Shameless plug of the video, because you know there's got to be at least one. Go get yourself one of these cool, you know, reliable, easy to work on Cummins t-shirts and get entered to win a fully loaded toolbox. Sorry, we don't have any Ford t-shirts on there yet. Maybe we should.
Be smart.
Smart?
What?
What? I always work on Fords, but when I have to reach down in places where things are buried, I need a topside creeper. Oh, yeah. It doesn't say that in the instructions, but just maybe just helpful to me, you know. Tools required for the job. 10 millimeter, 8 millimeter, topside creeper. All right, well, upper and lower intakes are off. Our disassembly is pretty much done at this point. We have gone through the moment of truth. Our FCA, I believe it's called, Fuel Control Actuator. This is where it is going to make or break your day, let's put it that way. This is good signs. There's no metal in Michael's truck, so his CP4 for now is in great shape, it looks like. So if you see any metal on this is when you're gonna have a very bad day, and obviously go through some additional pain, some money out of your pocket for sure. But we look like we're in good shape, which is a great sign. So where we're at is we are ready to put the first part of the kit on. We did basically all of that just to install this one little piece and then go back together. But here is what everything kind of looks like underneath here. Michael, how was that experience? Would you say?
It was tight.
So right down in here, you guys can see right down inside the valley is your CP4, and then your fuel control actuator sits right on top there. And like we said, usually fed from the bottom of the pump, and we'll show you guys once we get some of the lines routed, which is kind of our next step. We'll show you how the S&S kit actually changes all of that. Some other quick details about the kit that we did not mention in the beginning. 100% made in the USA, which obviously is very, very important for a lot of people. This kit is pretty much a OEM kit. All of the connectors, all of every connection, the whole kit is just really, really high quality and is all plug and play. There's no cutting, there's no hose clamps. Everything is factory style connections, which is really, really important. Does actually have a pending carb number, so should, once that is completely done and approved, should be a completely OEM non-emissions issue putting this kit on. So just a couple other quick details for you guys. S&S was actually the original people way back in the day to come out with this kit. This is their Gen 2 kit, and the cool thing is, which I think that a lot of companies, not this product specific, but if they come out with a new version, a lot of times you're kind of stuck with, hey, if you want the latest and greatest, well, you just got to buy a whole new kit. Not the case with this. If you guys actually have a Gen 1 kit that really doesn't have the return filter in it, you can actually upgrade for a little bit of extra money just for that filter, and they will take care of you on that for I think it's like 160 bucks. So again, get with your S&S dealer. FLEECE would be a good one to get if you guys want to upgrade to the Gen 2 kit. Gen 2 kit is just that much nicer, that much better, has this return filter built into it, because on the Gen 1 kit, I believe that it will save half of the engine, basically the rails and the injectors, but could still send stuff back to the tank. So in the case of a failure on the Gen 2 kit, you don't have to worry about the tank, the lines, or the injectors and rails. On the Gen 1 kit's a little bit different. So Gen 2 kit is definitely where it's at, 100%. So yeah, I think we're ready to start installation. Little lubage on the O-rings. Well, we'll install some of this stuff and catch back up with you guys. I'm not sure how much you'll be able to see after we start our reassembly, but just want to show you guys this this billet piece right here with our new hose. Got our FCA back in there, so got that little adapter piece going to the top of the CP4 pump in there. Who uses torque specs? I mean, goodness gracious, couple ugga-duggas, right? All right, well, Michael's finishing up the primary fuel filter installation. I believe that's what that's called. Who knows? You know, me and these Ford things. But anyway, we have wrapped up underneath here. Want to go over everything. Everything's back together. Everything is looking good. We've got our return filter there. You can kind of see our clear bowl right here. So we're pretty much ready to fire it up as soon as Michael's done down there. But really nice OEM installation. So you can kind of see our feed right here that goes down into the center valley of our CP4. You can see it disconnects one line down here and goes into the other fuel filter here. And then this filter right here, and I know it's very hard to see, but it actually only disconnects one, only interrupts one return line. So the nice thing too, if you're gonna say, hey, well, what happens if something happens, if I'm going down the road and something happens with this return filter here, maybe something starts leaking in the off chance, you can actually just unplug those two lines and plug in your factory line. So it really has zero chance of leaving you stranded, which is really, really nice. So again, this is only for the return side. So that's if you happen to have a CP4 failure, anything that would go back from the pump to the tank and the lines is taken care of and caught by this filter right here, and then the disaster prevention part that goes to the rails and the injectors is solved by that one line that feeds from the top of the pump, not allowing anything from the bottom of the pump to go up. So really, really nice. We are pretty much done, and we are going to see how many times we have to cycle the key to get all the air out of the lines, but we should be good. The only other thing that I did forget to mention is this kit actually is better for your CP4. If we go to SNS's website here, which they give you really, really nice layout of how the fuel comes into your engine, what the return filter does, and how everything is kind of fed. It gives you a really, really nice diagram of the truck, how it works. So if you guys need more information, I would head right to SNS Diesel and look it up. Kind of gives you some of that. And right here is the chart that I'm looking for. PowerStroke CP 4.2 output. So you can kind of see right here where your factory pump drops off without the kit, and now the way that their kit is designed and the way they feed it, you can see right here it does actually help the output and performance of the CP4. So great information from the guys at SNS. Again, if you need any more information, I would head over there, check it out. But we're just topping off some fluids. We've got a new air filter, new fuel filters, new oil, new transmission stuff, all from AMSOIL. We actually got even the fuel filters all came directly from AMSOIL's website. They do a really, really great job. If you don't know what your truck needs oils wise, capacity wise, filter wise, they give you all that one shot. So as always, going with the best, AMSOIL. So yeah, we're just wrapping up maintenance. Michael, give us your professional opinion, unprofessional, hobbyist, enthusiast, professional opinion on the install on that kit.
I think if you're a Ford person, you know the ins and outs of these better than I do, but just the intake was the hard part. That
plastic intake piece.
To be able to get to the CP4. But other than that, like the rest of it was, I mean, you could do that with, I mean, anybody could do that.
Literally just plug and play. It's really, really, really plug and play.
Yeah.
If you guys are an expert at taking off that black plastic piece, it will take you far less time than it took us. But us being our first time, it did take obviously several hours. Some of those bolts are way in the back. Quick test drive. How's she feel? How's she feel?
Did you feel that locked up 5th gear shift?
I didn't feel anything.
Oh,
wow.
6th.
It's a lot of power. This is burnout alley, you know.
It's amazing.
You want to just test out how much CP4 upgraded flow we have?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Lay down a couple tire stripes.
Yep. Gosh.
Well,
this feels amazing.
No news is good news.
Just feels smooth.
Whoa, why are you trying to flex over here? Easy. We don't want to get demonetized. Just crap. Goodness gracious, put those things away. Wow. All right, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap up the installation on the Gen 2 CP4 disaster prevention kit for all of your FORD 6.7s. I would highly recommend you not waiting until your CP4 fails you, because that's just not going to be a good day. It's definitely going to make you cry. I would definitely cry. I would not want that to happen to you guys. So if you have a FORD, or maybe even know somebody with a FORD, and maybe you guys are just all Dodge guys on here, but if you own a FORD, or if you know somebody who owns a FORD, I would highly suggest you send them this video, have them check out the disaster prevention kit. And again, I'll leave the link down below for if you guys are interested in purchasing it from the guys over at FLEECE, or if you need some more information, I'll leave the link down below for the guys over at SNS. SNS guys are awesome. We run all of their fuel stuff and pretty much everything that we have. So I would highly recommend them. They are great guys, a great company to deal with, and a great product. Very happy with the installation. This is gonna wrap up this video, guys. Hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe if you have not already. Make sure you go get the entries for the toolbox on wrenchworks.com, and we'll see you guys in the next video from this weekend. Lots of action coming from this weekend at Streetcar Takeover from Bowling Green. Make sure you guys come out if you're local. See you in the next one. Bye.